First contact surprise. The massive Killarian warship Starweaver hung silently in the darkness of space, its crystalline hull reflecting the distant light of Earth's sun. Admiral Vexthor stood at the command center, his iridescent scales shifting colors as he studied the holographic display of the seemingly unremarkable blue planet before him. Another primitive world, muttered First Officer Zura, her tendrils writhing in barely concealed disdain. The energy readings must be a malfunction. Vexthor wasn't so sure. In 3 centuries of exploration, he'd learned to trust his instincts. The quantum resonance patterns they detected from this backwater world were unlike anything in the Killarian database. Too precise to be natural, too complex to be accidental. Begin the preliminary scan, he ordered, his compound eyes fixed on the planet's swirling atmosphere. The Killarian Empire had conquered 1,000 worlds, all in the name of advancing civilization across the galaxy. Earth would be no different. Or so they thought. The first warning came when their most sophisticated scanning beams simply vanished. Not blocked, not reflected. They ceased to exist the moment they touched Earth's upper atmosphere. Zyra's tendrils twisted in agitation as she recalibrated the instruments. "Impossible," she whispered. "The quantum interference pattern. It's as if the planet itself is thinking." Vexthor's scales darkened to a deep purple, a sign of intense concentration among his kind. In all his years serving the Empire, he'd never encountered anything like this. The humans were supposed to be centuries behind Killarian technology. Their primitive satellites and radio waves painted a picture of the species barely reaching for the stars. Yet something wasn't adding up. "Launch the probe drones," he commanded. Hundreds of crystalline spheres emerged from the Starweaver's hull, their advanced AI systems programmed to penetrate Earth's atmosphere and gather detailed intelligence. They never made it past the mesosphere. In a display that defied every known law of physics, the drones simply winked out of existence. No explosion, no debris, not even an energy signature. It was as if space itself had decided they didn't belong there. "Admiral," Zyra's voice carried an edge of fear now. "We're detecting an energy buildup from the planet's surface." The holographic display shifted, showing a web of power signatures emerging from every continent. What had appeared to be a simple planet of oceans and landmasses was transforming before their eyes. Patterns of energy danced across the surface, forming intricate geometries that seemed to pulse with their own intelligence. "By the crystal throne," Vexthor breathed. "They've turned their entire planet into a weapon." Before he could issue another order, a voice echoed through the command center. Not through their communication systems, it seemed to emanate from the very atoms around them. "Killarian vessel Starweaver," the voice was calm, almost friendly. "This is Earth Defense Command. We've been expecting you." The bridge crew froze. The humans shouldn't have known their ship's name. Shouldn't have been able to penetrate their advanced cloaking technology. Shouldn't have been able to speak to them as if they were having a casual conversation. "I am Admiral Vexthor of the Killarian Empire," he responded, managing to keep his voice steady. "Your world has drawn our attention with its unusual energy signatures." A soft chuckle filled the air. "Yes, we thought it might. Consider this a friendly warning, Admiral. Earth is not what you think it is. We've watched your empire expand across the galaxy, and we've chosen to remain quiet. Until now." The energy web across Earth's surface pulsed brighter, and suddenly, the Starweaver's engines went dead. Not damage. They simply stopped responding, as if they'd forgotten how to function. "Impossible," Zyra whispered again, her tendrils now practically tied in knots. "They've quantum-locked our drive core. That's beyond even theoretical Killarian science." "What are you?" Vexthor demanded, his scales now shifting to the deep red of alarm. "We're human," the voice replied simply. "And we've spent centuries preparing for this moment. You see, Admiral, while your empire was busy conquering worlds, humanity took a different path. We looked inward, deep into the quantum fabric of reality itself. What you're detecting isn't a weapon. It's our understanding of the universe made manifest. The holographic display suddenly came alive with new data, showing energy patterns that defied comprehension. The entire planet was enveloped in a quantum field so complex it made Keylarian technology look like stone tools in comparison. "We're giving you this demonstration as a courtesy," the voice continued. "A chance to avoid unnecessary conflict. The galaxy is changing, Admiral. The age of empire is ending. We suggest you return to your superiors with a message. Earth is not a target for conquest. We are not a primitive world to be uplifted. We are humanity, and we've been quietly reshaping the fundamentals of reality while you were building warships." Vexthor stared at the stunning display of power before him, his military training warring with his scientific curiosity. "If you possess such technology, why reveal yourselves now?" "Because it's time for the galaxy to change," the voice replied. "And change works better with understanding than with conflict. The choice of how this first contact proceeds is yours, Admiral. Choose wisely." As if to emphasize the point, the quantum web around Earth pulsed once more, and suddenly the Starweaver's engines hummed back to life. The message was clear. Everything that had happened was under human control. Vexthor looked at his crew, seeing the same realization in their expressions. They had come expecting to find primitives, and instead discovered something that would forever change the Keylarian Empire's view of the galaxy. "Message received," he said finally. "We will withdraw and report our findings." As the Starweaver turned away from Earth, Vexthor couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. Humanity had revealed itself not through violence or aggression, but through a display of such advanced science that it bordered on the miraculous. The galaxy would never be the same. And somewhere on Earth, in a deep underground control center, General Sarah Chen smiled as she watched the Keylarian ship retreat. "First contact achieved," she said to her team. "Let's hope they're good at delivering messages." The quantum web around Earth continued its eternal dance, humanity's greatest achievement hidden in plain sight, waiting for the next visitor who might mistake technological subtlety for weakness. The Deep Defense. General Sarah Chen stood in Earth's primary quantum defense facility, 3 kilometers beneath the Pacific Ocean floor. The vast chamber hummed with the power of humanity's greatest technological achievement, the quantum lattice network. Holographic displays showed the retreating Keylarian vessel, still being carefully monitored by Earth's defense systems. "They'll be back," Dr. Marcus Wong said quietly, his fingers dancing across the quantum interface controls. "And next time, they'll bring friends." Sarah nodded, watching as real-time data flowed through the facility's crystalline processors. The quantum web surrounding Earth rippled with subtle adjustments, maintaining its perfect camouflage while simultaneously monitoring every cubic meter of space within 10 light-years of the planet. "That's exactly what we want," she replied. "It's time to show the galaxy that humanity isn't just another primitive species waiting to be conquered." The facility itself was a testament to how far humanity had come. What appeared to be standard metal and concrete to normal scanning equipment was actually a complex metamaterial that existed partially outside normal spacetime. Even if the Keylarians somehow penetrated the outer defensive layers, they would find themselves trapped in a maze of quantum possibilities. Dr. Isabella Martinez, head of the Quantum Psychology Division, approached with a neural tablet displaying her latest analysis. "The Keylarian response patterns matched our predictions exactly. Their empire is built on the assumption of technological superiority. Today's demonstration has already sent shockwaves through their command structure." "How can you be sure?" Sarah asked, though she already suspected the answer. Isabella smiled, her dark eyes gleaming with satisfaction. "Because we're tracking their quantum communications. They're not even trying to hide their panic. The Admiral is currently composing a report that effectively states everything we thought we knew about primitive species is wrong." The 3 of them watched as another holographic display materialized, showing the vast network of quantum sensors that humanity had spent centuries developing. What had started as simple quantum entanglement experiments in the 21st century had evolved into a technology that defied conventional physics. Status of the deep well? Sarah asked, referring to the planet's core tap system that powered their defensive grid. Marcus pulled up the relevant data, operating at optimal efficiency. The quantum fusion reaction is stable, and the gravity lens is maintaining perfect focus. We're currently harvesting enough zero-point energy to power our defenses for the next 1,000 years. A soft alert chimed through the chamber. Isabella's neural tablet immediately displayed the cause. We're detecting quantum wake signatures. 3 more Calarian vessels just entered the outer sensor range. Looks like their response time is faster than we anticipated. Sarah's expression remained calm, but her eyes hardened with determination. Good. Initialize protocol revelation. It's time for Phase 2. The quantum web surrounding Earth began to shift, its energy patterns realigning into new configurations. What had appeared to be a simple defensive screen was about to reveal its true nature. "You know," Marcus said, his voice tinged with both pride and concern, "once we do this, there's no going back. The galaxy will never see us the same way again." "They never saw us at all," Isabella countered. "That was the point. While they were busy building bigger warships and conquering worlds, we were learning to speak to reality itself. The quantum realm isn't just a tool for us anymore. It's become an extension of human consciousness." The new Calarian vessels emerged from faster-than-light travel, their crystalline hulls gleaming against the backdrop of space. Their arrival formation suggested they were prepared for combat, but humanity's sensors revealed the uncertainty in their power distributions. They weren't here to fight. They were here to understand. "Quantum channels are open," Marcus reported. "They're trying to scan us again, this time with their full array of sensors." Sarah nodded. "Let them see. Activate the quantum mirrors." The space around Earth shimmed as layers of reality peeled back like pages in a book. The Calarian ship's sensors were suddenly flooded with data about human achievements they couldn't begin to comprehend. Quantum computers that operated on the scale of galaxies. Energy production systems that tapped into the fundamental forces of the universe. Defense systems that could literally rewrite the laws of physics within their sphere of influence. "They're responding," Isabella announced, reading the quantum fluctuations in the Calarian command signals. "Their flagship is preparing to broadcast on all frequencies." "This is High Commander Xelphos of the Calarian Empire." A voice resonated through the quantum channels. "We request diplomatic contact with Earth's leadership." Sarah allowed herself a small smile. "Right on schedule. Humanity has hidden long enough. It's time to take our place in the galaxy, not as conquerors, but as guardians of a new age." She stepped forward, her quantum neural interface connecting her directly to Earth's defense grid. When she spoke, her voice carried the weight of centuries of human advancement. "High Commander, this is Earth Defense Command. We accept your request for diplomatic contact. However, the terms of this interaction will be different from what your empire is accustomed to. We are not here to be subjugated or uplifted. We are here to help guide the galaxy toward a future that transcends the cycle of conquest and domination." The quantum web pulsed once more, and in that moment, the Calarians, and soon the rest of the galaxy, would begin to understand that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their technology. It was their vision for a universe where advancement meant more than just building bigger weapons. The deep defense had served its purpose. Earth was no longer hiding. The time had come for humanity to share its gifts with the stars. Legacy of the Ancients. The diplomatic chamber deep within Earth's quantum defense facility was unlike anything the Calarian delegation had ever seen. The walls seemed to shift between states of matter, simultaneously solid and fluid, a visual representation of humanity's mastery over quantum mechanics. High Commander Xelphos tried to maintain his composure, but his iridescent scales betrayed his awe with rapid color changes. "What you're about to learn," General Chen began, "is a secret humanity has kept for over 3 centuries. Not just from the galaxy, but from most of our own people. The holographic display in the center of the chamber activated, showing a three-dimensional image of Earth as it had appeared in the late 21st century. The image then shifted, revealing layers of ancient structures buried deep within the planet's crust. In 2084, we discovered something that changed everything, Dr. Wang explained, his hands moving through the hologram to highlight specific locations. While developing our first quantum detection systems, we found energy signatures that couldn't possibly have come from Earth. They were remnants of something far older than human civilization. The Calarian science minister, Telera, leaned forward, her compound eyes focusing intently on the display. "The precursors," she whispered. "You found their technology." "No," Isabella corrected, a slight smile playing at her lips. "We found their research facilities. The precursors didn't just visit Earth. They used it as a laboratory for their most advanced experiments in quantum mechanics." The hologram shifted again, revealing vast underground complexes that predated human civilization by millions of years. But unlike the ruins found on other worlds, these facilities weren't dead. They had remained active, running experiments, and gathering data long after their creators had vanished from the galaxy. What made humans different, Sarah continued, was our approach. Every other species that discovered precursor technology tried to reverse engineer it, to copy what they found. We did something else. We tried to understand the principles behind it. The display showed the evolution of human quantum science, how they had taken the basic concepts demonstrated in the precursor facilities and developed them in entirely new directions. Where the precursors had sought to control quantum effects, humanity had learned to work in harmony with them. "The quantum lattice network isn't precursor technology," Marcus explained, his voice filled with pride. "It's entirely human-made, but it's built on an understanding of the universe that the precursors helped us achieve. We became their students, not their imitators." Exelthas's scales shifted to a deep blue of contemplation. "But why reveal this now? Your species could have continued to hide, to develop your technology in secret." Sarah's expression grew serious. "Because we've learned something else from the precursor data, something that concerns the entire galaxy." The experiments they were conducting weren't just about understanding quantum mechanics. They were trying to prevent something they saw coming. The hologram changed one final time, showing complex mathematical equations and energy patterns that stretched across multiple dimensions. Even the advanced Calarian scientists struggled to comprehend what they were seeing. "The fabric of space-time itself is beginning to degrade," Isabella explained. "The precursors discovered this and were searching for a solution. They didn't find one in time, but they left behind all their research, hoping that someone would continue their work. That's why we've chosen this moment to reveal ourselves," Sarah added. The Calarian Empire's expansion was about to bring them into contact with the first signs of this degradation. Without understanding what it was, your response might have accelerated the problem. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. The Calarians had come expecting to find a primitive world hiding advanced technology. Instead, they had discovered that humanity had become the inheritors of the greatest scientific mission in galactic history. "The quantum web surrounding Earth isn't just a defense system," Marcus continued. "It's also a prototype, a way to stabilize space-time itself. But to implement it on a galactic scale, we'll need the help of every spacefaring civilization." Exelthos stood, his scales now showing the deep green of decision. "The Calarian Empire has always prided itself on bringing advancement to the galaxy. But perhaps it is time for us to learn a different way. What do you propose?" Sarah smiled, activating another holographic display that showed a plan centuries in the making. "We propose a partnership, not just between Earth and the Calarian Empire, but with every species in the galaxy. The precursors left their legacy to whoever could understand it. We've done our part. Now it's time to share what we've learned." The quantum web surrounding Earth pulsed once more, but this time it wasn't a show of force. It was an invitation, a demonstration of what was possible when advancement was pursued not for power, but for understanding. The choice is yours, High Commander, Sarah said softly. Will the Kilarian Empire join us in protecting not just our worlds, but the very fabric of space-time itself? The answer would determine not just the future of Earth or the Kilarian Empire, but the fate of the entire galaxy. The ultimate test. 6 months after the historic meeting between Earth and the Kilarian Empire, the quantum detection grid registered something that made every sensor in the galaxy light up with alarm. A massive distortion in space-time was forming at the edge of charted space, exactly where the precursor data had predicted the first major breach would appear. In Earth's quantum defense facility, General Chen watched the emergency reports flood in from across the newly formed Galactic Coalition. The quantum web around Earth was pulsing with unprecedented energy as it processed data from thousands of sources simultaneously. "Time to collapse?" she asked, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. Dr. Wang's fingers flew across the quantum interface. "The distortion is growing exponentially. At current rates, we have less than 72 hours before it begins consuming normal spacetime." The chamber was filled with representatives from 24 spacefaring civilizations, all linked through quantum communications. High Commander Xelphos's holographic form stood prominently among them, his scales a deep crimson of emergency. "The Kilarian fleet is in position," he reported. "All ships have been equipped with the quantum resonance technology as specified. But we've never attempted anything on this scale before." "Nobody has," Isabella interjected, her neural tablet displaying complex probability calculations. "The precursor's simulations went this far, but they never managed to implement a practical solution. We're about to attempt something that's only existed in theoretical models." The distortion on the main display grew larger, its edges writhing with impossible geometries as it consumed the very structure of reality. Several smaller space-time anomalies had already begun forming in its wake, threatening to trigger a cascade effect that could unravel the entire galaxy. "Begin Phase 1, Sarah ordered. "All Coalition ships, activate your quantum resonance fields." Across the galaxy, thousands of ships from dozens of civilizations powered up their newly installed quantum technology. Each vessel became a node in a vast network, creating a web of stable space-time that began to push back against the encroaching void. "Quantum coherence at 60%, Marcus reported, his voice tense. "We need at least 90 to begin Phase 2. The holographic representatives watched anxiously as their combined fleets struggled to establish the necessary quantum field strength. Civilizations that had been enemies mere months ago were now working in perfect synchronization, their ships moving in precise formations guided by human quantum calculations. "There's something else," Isabella suddenly announced, her eyes widening as she studied the neural readings. "The distortion. It's not just random decay. There's a pattern to it." Sarah moved to her station, examining the data herself. "Show me." The main display shifted, revealing complex mathematical sequences buried within the chaos of the space-time breach. They were subtle, almost impossible to detect without the combined processing power of the entire Coalition fleet. "By the Crystal Throne," Xelphos breathed. "Those are precursor signatures." "Not just signatures," Isabella corrected. "They're active commands. The distortion isn't just a natural phenomenon. It's responding to something. Or someone." The revelation sent shockwaves through the command chamber. The precursors hadn't just predicted this event. They had been actively trying to prevent it. And now, millions of years later, their greatest fear had finally manifested. "Coherence at 85%. Marcus called out. "Whatever we're going to do, we need to do it soon. The distortion is beginning to accelerate." Sarah's mind raced, processing the implications of what they'd discovered. The precursors hadn't just left behind their research, they'd left behind a warning. And now humanity and their allies were facing the same force that had caused the most advanced civilization in galactic history to disappear. "Modify the resonance frequency," she ordered. "Don't try to contain the distortion. Match its pattern. If it's responding to commands, then it can be communicated with." The coalition fleet adjusted their quantum fields, their combined energy now pulsing in harmony with the mysterious patterns emanating from the breach. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, suddenly, the distortion's growth began to slow. "It's working," Marcus exclaimed. "Coherence at 92% and climbing." The chamber erupted in a flurry of activity as the combined scientific knowledge of a dozen civilizations worked to understand what was happening. The quantum web around Earth extended its influence, connecting with the coalition fleet to create a stable channel directly into the heart of the anomaly. "We're receiving something," Isabella announced, her voice filled with wonder. "A signal, encoded in quantum fluctuations. It's a key. The precursors didn't just leave us their research. They left us the solution, but they needed us to prove we could work together to find it." Sarah looked around the chamber at the assembled representatives of the galaxy's civilizations. In their greatest moment of crisis, ancient enemies had become allies, working together to solve a puzzle millions of years in the making. "Begin Phase 3, she commanded. "Let's show the universe that the precursor's faith in the future wasn't misplaced." As the coalition fleet moved into its final formation, preparing to implement the precursor's solution, one thing became clear. Humanity's greatest achievement hadn't been mastering quantum technology. It had been bringing the galaxy together to face a threat that no species could handle alone. The ultimate test was just beginning, and its outcome would determine not just the fate of Earth or the coalition, but the very nature of reality itself. A new dawn. In the aftermath of the quantum crisis, Earth's diplomatic chamber had transformed. Where once it held secret meetings, it now hosted representatives from across the galaxy. The walls still shimmered with quantum energy, but now they displayed real-time data from the newly established galactic network, humanity's gift to their cosmic neighbors. General Sarah Chen stood before the assembled delegates, her quantum neural interface connecting her to the vast web of information flowing through space. The holographic displays showed the former site of the space-time distortion, now stabilized by a permanent quantum matrix maintained by the combined efforts of all spacefaring species. "The precursor's final message has been fully decoded," she announced. "What we thought was the end of their civilization was actually a beginning. They sacrificed themselves to seed the galaxy with the knowledge we would need when this moment came." Dr. Wong stepped forward, bringing up a detailed analysis of the quantum patterns they had discovered. They knew that no single species could face this challenge alone. The technology they left behind wasn't just about advancing our scientific understanding. It was a test. They wanted to ensure that whoever found it would be ready to unite the galaxy. High Commander Exelthos, now the Kilarian representative to the Galactic Coalition's governing council, nodded in agreement. His scales shimmered with the deep gold of revelation. They chose Earth for a reason, not because humans were special, but because they knew humanity's path would be different. While other civilizations focused on expansion and conquest, Isabella added, Earth turned inward. "We studied the quantum realm not to build weapons, but to understand the nature of reality itself. That understanding led us to recognize the patterns the precursors had left behind." The chamber's displays shifted to show the new quantum network that now connected every coalition world. What had started as Earth's defensive web had evolved into something far more significant, a living network of consciousness and technology that allowed instant communication and cooperation across vast distances. But the crisis we faced wasn't just about survival, Sarah continued. It was about evolution. The space-time distortion wasn't a natural disaster. It was a doorway. The precursors discovered that our universe is one of many, and that consciousness itself plays a role in maintaining the boundaries between realities. The assembled delegates watched in awe as the holographic display demonstrated the true nature of what they had accomplished. By working together, they hadn't just prevented the collapse of space-time. They had taken the first step toward a new stage of cosmic evolution. "The quantum network we've created doesn't just stabilize our reality," Marcus explained. "It allows us to perceive and interact with the multiverse in ways the precursors only theorized about. They didn't disappear, they transcended, and they left us the map to follow in their footsteps. Tellura, the Calarian science minister, stepped forward, but only when we were ready, only when we could prove that we could overcome our differences and work together. Sarah nodded. The age of empire is over, the age of exploration. True exploration is just beginning. The precursors showed us that the greatest discoveries don't come from domination, but from cooperation and understanding. The quantum web pulsed with new energy as more civilizations connected to the network. Each species brought its own unique perspective, its own consciousness, adding to the growing complexity of the galactic mind they were creating together. We stand at a crossroads, Sarah declared. The precursors left us more than technology. They left us a choice. We can remain as we are, bound by the limitations of our current existence, or we can take the next step together. They proved that consciousness can transcend the boundaries of space-time itself. The question is, are we ready to follow where they led? The chamber erupted in discussion as representatives debated the implications of this revelation. But there was no fear, no conflict, only a shared sense of wonder and possibility. The quantum crisis had proven that together, they were capable of things no single civilization could achieve alone. In Earth's quantum defense facility, now the heart of the coalition's research efforts, Dr. Wong studied the patterns of connection forming between worlds. "It's beautiful," he said quietly, "every species adding its own unique harmony to the quantum symphony." Isabella smiled, her neural interface showing her the deeper patterns forming in the network. The precursors were right. The real power was never in the technology. It was in our ability to come together, to share our understanding and grow beyond our individual limitations. As the delegates continued their discussions, Sarah walked to the chamber's observation window. Earth shimmered below, its quantum web now just one note in a greater galactic chorus. Humanity had started this journey alone, thinking they needed to hide their achievements from a hostile galaxy. Instead, they had become the catalyst for something far greater. The next step in the evolution of consciousness itself. The age of isolation was over. The age of transformation had begun. And somewhere, in realms beyond normal space-time, the precursors watched as their heirs took their first steps toward a destiny even they had only dreamed of.